Welcome to WorkCover Western Australia. This video outlines key information workers need to know if they believe their hearing has been affected due to noise exposure in the workplace. This is known as noise-induced hearing loss. It also explains the testing requirements of employers and processes for claiming compensation. A workplace is considered noisy if a worker is required to wear hearing protection to reduce the risk of hearing loss associated with noise exposure that exceeds 85 decibels during an 8-hour working day or peaks at 140 decibels at any time during the workday. This is known as noisy employment. Employers who have workers in noisy employment are known as noisy employers. If a worker is in noisy employment, they can ask their employer for an audiological test from a WorkCover WA authorised audiologist. Noisy employers are obligated to pay for this testing at the request of a worker who is in noisy employment. Workers in noisy employment can request an audiological test once every 2 years. A list of authorised audiologists is available on the WorkCover WA website. If the worker has left the noisy employment, noisy employers are still obliged to pay for testing for up to 3 months from the date the worker left. It is important the worker is not exposed to more than 80 decibels at any time for 16 hours prior to an audiological test. 80 decibels is approximately equal to the noise of a household vacuum cleaner 1 metre away. If there is disagreement over whether the worker is in noisy employment, the worker can make a request for WorkCover WA to make a determination as to whether the employer is required to pay for testing. If a worker is not in noisy employment, but they believe their hearing has deteriorated due to noise exposure in the workplace, the worker can pay for their own testing. The cost of testing is reimbursed if the claim is successful. On completion of the audiological test, the authorised audiologists will submit their audiological test report to WorkCover WA. A copy of the audiological test report will be given to the worker and the employer who was required to pay for the test. The authorised audiologist will notify the worker of their hearing test results and whether the audiological test results mean they are required to see an ear, nose and throat specialist, commonly referred to as an ENT specialist. It is the worker's responsibility to arrange the ENT specialist appointment, and the noisy employer is required to pay for it. A list of ENT specialists who can perform a noise-induced hearing loss assessment is available on the WorkCover WA website. The ENT will conduct a noise-induced hearing loss assessment to determine how much of the worker's hearing loss is attributed to noise exposure in the workplace. Workers are required to provide information in the Noise Exposure and Employment History approved form, which is given to the ENT specialist prior to the noise-induced hearing loss assessment. If the noise-induced hearing loss assessment confirms noise-induced hearing loss of 10% or more, or 5% if it is a subsequent noise claim for the worker may complete a noise-induced hearing loss compensation claim form. The claim is made on the last noisy employer. The noise-induced hearing loss assessment will confirm which employer this is. Along with the claim form, the worker must also provide the last employer with a copy of the audiological test, the noise-induced hearing loss assessment, and the worker's Noise Exposure and Employment History approved form. The employer must give the claim form to their insurer within 7 days of receiving it. Once the claim form has been received by the insurer, a notice must be issued within 14 days informing the worker as to whether the claim has been accepted, not accepted, or if a decision on the claim has been deferred. If the decision has been deferred, the insurer has up to 120 days to carry out its investigations in order to make a decision. Otherwise, the claim is deemed to have been accepted. Noise-induced hearing loss claims are paid as a lump sum payment. If a worker's noise-induced hearing loss is attributable to more than one employer, the cost of the claim is apportioned with the other liable employers noted in the worker's employment history. Further information, including approved forms, is available on the WorkCover WA website. Or you can speak with one of our advisory officers by calling 1300 794 744